This is the search for the Holy Grail beer, the Wusu 2021 Boys Out West Summer Holiday. So China's a pretty big country, so we wanted to go out west, Gansu and Qinghai province, so we planned a few stops to visit. First of all, we had to buy some Jesus sandals, obviously, and take an awkward photo before we left. We flew from Beijing to Xining city, fighting. And we booked the cheapest possible hostel in Xining city, 100 RMB, $15. Xining was a bit of a dump, high altitude, so we went to the bus station, got a bit of lunch, bit of breakfast, and we were about to head off to our first stop. Our first stop was Qinghai Lake. Again, we booked the cheapest possible hostel in the town. It was okay. Had a nice view out the back of the mountains, but couldn't see the lake. Josh, the travel agent, got onto his job, but there wasn't really anything to do around here apart from drink milk beers and hang out with the 16-year-olds who ran our hostel. So this was basically our time in Qinghai Lake. Josh had an old GoPro, which its date was set on 2015, which we used. So we left Qinghai Lake the very next morning. We got a private driver back to Xining city. It was nice to see the lake, I suppose. Our next stop would be Tongren County. We got there, but we weren't allowed to sleep the night there. Foreigners weren't allowed. So our next stop was Xiahe, which is home to Labrang Monastery up in the mountains. Our hotel again was a cheap one right on the main street, right next to the monastery. There were some random Mongolian guys living there. We woke up early at about 6 o'clock and went to the sunrise at the Labrang Monastery. Josh was in his natural habitat. He was loving it. So we took some deep and meaningful photos looking out into the distance. I wasn't feeling the same. We went for a tour through the monastery, which was pretty cool. We got to walk through and use some of the practices and had a local monk guide who was pretty interesting. Next we went on a walk up the mountain beside the monastery. There were people living in their tents up on the mountains. It was pretty nice. Fighting. As we walked down the mountain, we saw lots of pigeons the monks were keeping, and of course this big boy. I liked it. Of course, no holiday in China is complete without one of the people thinking they might get kicked out of the country due to visa troubles. And Josh was in some serious chats before having some spicy barbecue, which he couldn't handle. Our next stop on the trip was Langmusi, which is actually technically in Sichuan province. One monastery is in Gansu province, one monastery is in Sichuan province. And they like to call it their Table Mountain, like South Africa up there. We went on a tour. We paid a local 15-year-old girl, maybe 14, in the black and white jacket on her head there. She took us around and spoke some Chinese about the place. We climbed up this mountain to touch a rock and throw some stones. Then we went on a walk up by ourselves, but the locals said there might be wolves, so we didn't really like that. all we found were just yaks. There were so many yaks. So the next day we got a bus from Langmusi all the way up to Lanzhou, the big smoke.
Should we just like walk and stretch to the bridge?
Yeah, take it slow.
Yeah, like not start. Oh.
This is where the trip started to get a bit awkward, as everyone in Lanzhou was scared of foreigners at the moment because the local government was telling them that all foreigners were bringing in COVID cases, especially Pakistanis. So being in the lift, everyone was putting masks on and trying not to breathe and facing the other way. And every restaurant or anywhere we went into, people were always asking us if we were Pakistani. And I got a new camera, image stabilization.
Sleep, let's sleep. Now that the night is over, and the sun comes like a god into our room. All perfect light and promises. Gotta hold on to new sensation. New sensation right now.
Everyone's drinking this orange thing. The people are already freaking out. What, so they do like table fucking, they come get you? Yo, Pijoma. Yo, yo, yo. So Lanzhou was nice. I mean, we sat by the river and had a few drinks, and then we went to the night market. They won't judge us. Oh. Yeah, it's hot. So we had a few drinks and then we went to this other bar and had some Yolza Pomelo beer, which was disgusting. And then we had one final day in Lanzhou. So we went to a cafe, Josh had a strawberry milkshake, and we hung out there. And as the sad little men we are, we went back to the night market again the following night to get some more food. It's the lamb dodo, the head last night. Yeah. Oh, those are pretty good, eh? Like the hot dogs with stuff in them. I'm pretty sure they've got like meat and shit in them. Yeah, yeah.
老周几杯奶牛奶吃奶老周。
啊，对对。
And again, we went back to the cafe so Josh could have another strawberry milkshake. The next stop on our list was Zhangye, home of the colourful mountains. Look at it, wow. We were in for a biggie. We arrived and the accommodation was pretty good. It was a really nice day, so we headed off early. We biked to a little national park which had some mountains we were heading to. And on the way there was this annoying as hell road. Every 30 or 40 or so meters, you had to get off. Thoughts?
It's big.
Yeah, it's big.
Good.
So yeah, it was pretty big. We got up there, Josh snapped a couple of photos. It was nice being up there and checking it all out. So we biked back and next we had the Big Daddy on the list. This is the most popular tourist destination here and we could see the buses rolling in. And like any good Chinese tourist destination, it started off with a chopper flying overhead and a public family dispute. Woman's going crazy.
Oh no, I like it, kid.
was a bit of a mess. Probably wasn't what we were expecting. It was packed, and as the day went on, the tourist attraction became the actual people there and the masses, like so many other places in China, which we started to enjoy and take some photos and have a laugh about. This face, I think, represents our day quite well. But in the end we found the mighty wusu, the holy grail. What a night. Next on the list was Jiayuguan city. It was about a 3-hour train ride through the desert. So yeah, this is where the end of the Great Wall is. Wow, desert, oasis, camels. We didn't really know what the point of this place was. It was a major letdown. The only thing that was pretty interesting were these guys talking about cannons. So we had one night in Jiayuguan city, where, as any foreigner does in a tier 3 city, we went and got some decos. And next on the list, the final stop, Dunhuang city, another train ride through the desert. After living in China for 8 years, we normally expect tourist attractions to not be what they are advertised. And like any good Chinese tourist attraction, this one started off with a chopper above. But this place takes the cake. This was something, this was new, this astounded us.
Wait for a car, they're coming, mate. You really were going to run through there? Oh.
So we got there at about lunchtime. It was still pretty hot, midday. I don't think many locals go there in the daytime because it's too hot. So it wasn't too packed, which was good. We got up top, there weren't too many people, it was pretty nice. Took a selfie to reveal our hairlines, and then we saw what any good foreigner always gets carnied into doing. By now it's the afternoon and the crowd started coming up because it wasn't so hot, but we were finished for the day, so we ran down. Josh took a few final snaps for the day, and that was pretty much it. Our holiday was over.
Number of camels and like tourists attraction.
World record.
I reckon Egypt and the fucking pyramids probably have a shit ton.
You reckon Cairo, like the pyramids, would have more than this?
No.
Not in a single line walking together.
I don't think Cairo
Not as many tourists. You can't even see, they're up behind the